and welcome back to your 12 days of Christmas. So today is day number 2, and on the second day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 2 turtle doves. Now, a turtle dove looks just like a pigeon. So we're going with our half pigeon today, which most of you already know. But we're going to walk through it in a way that we don't always get to in a vinyasa class. So you usually come into it from either all fours or from a downward facing dog, right? So we'll bring one knee forward and your knee's coming just underneath your shoulder. And then drop your back foot and start to slide your back foot back. Now, I've had a lot of students ask me because some teachers will cue to have your shin parallel to the front of your mat. And that's totally fine, but that's not accessible for everybody, right? That tends to take it more into the glutes. You'll get more of a glute stretch. This stretches all of the external rotators of the hip, so it's a really wonderful pose when you have tight hips, which most of us do. So what we're going to do today is bring our ankle just underneath your opposite hip bone. So instead of worrying about what the shin is doing, go ahead and slide it back. And what that does is it allows me to roll this hip toward the floor. Now, for us to have really square hips is going to be really important in the pose. So not only do we get this stretch in the glutes, but we get this amazing stretch in psoas, in our hip flexors on the other side. Now, I want you to tent your fingers, root your fingers down, and a lot of times in class we go, right into this folded pigeon or roadkill type of pose, right? A flat dead pigeon. But instead what we're going to do is I want you to roll your opposite hip, your left hip down toward the floor, tent your fingers and lift your chest. Try to keep your hips as square as possible and lengthen your tailbone down toward the floor. So we've got the stretch in the external rotators, we've got the stretch in the hip flexors on the other side, and lift your chest up toward the sky. So always listen to your knee. There can be a lot of weight in the knee. If you feel like you can start to inch your foot forward, and that's fine, but make sure that you're still keeping your hips nice and square. I would hold for at least 5 breaths here. Draw your shoulder blades down your back. Check your back foot also, just to make sure that we're not torquing our ankle at all. Try to keep your ankle nice and straight so there's no strain. If your knee is facing the side wall, then we know we're externally rotated. So again, you'll have to try to roll your hip down toward the floor. Keep your hips nice and square. Take one more breath. And then surrender and go ahead and crawl forward. Now, lots of variations with the hands here. I personally like to bring one cheek onto the mat and fully surrender down. This is just what feels really good. And sometimes I'll also walk over to that bent knee side. That feels really nice. You can play around with what feels good for you. So this is a good time in your home practice to kind of explore. You don't always have to do exactly what the teacher says, and when we're in a vinyasa class, we don't get a lot of time to tailor it to every person. So kind of figure out, what feels really nice. Now I feel a ton of release right here in the glutes and all of these external rotators, the piriformis. If you have sciatic nerve stuff going on, great stretch for it, okay? Hold for a good 5 to 10 breaths. Come all the way out. Back onto all fours or downward facing dog and switch sides. I'll see you tomorrow.